Whoa! Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Parker. Welcome to my channel, Parker Loves Movies. I'm going to talk about my favorite movies of the decade. Now, I just don't have time to explain why they're my favorite movies. The top 3 movies of the year I'll dive into a little bit more, but we're just going to list them off alphabetically because it's just going to take way too long. So, let's get started. 2019. Favorite movies of this year, or just last year. Number 1, 1917, Aladdin, Detective Pikachu, Endgame, Ford vs. Ferrari, Godzilla, Kings and Monsters, ooh, Hotel Mumbai, gotta love a true story, How to Train Your Dragon 3, a perfect trilogy, It Chapter 2, a really good follow-up, Jojo Rabbit, Knives Out, The Art of Racing in the Rain, Shazam, Spider-Man Far From Home, Yesterday, and Zombieland 2. Alright, my top 3 movies of 2019 would have to be 1917, Endgame, and Knives Out. And that's in no particular order. Knives Out I really liked. Like I said, it's an underappreciated genre. The whodunit mystery thriller is always a lot of fun. I think that might have been either that one or Ford vs. Ferrari. That was the last movie I saw in theaters with my dad. Rest in peace. Thanks, Dad, for taking me to the movies all the time. But Knives Out was a lot of fun. Constantly throughout the whole movie, my mom and I were talking like, oh, what about this and this and this and da-da-da, and oh, I think we did it, or she did it. She had to have done, oh, you know what, he did it. Yep, he definitely, no, she, oh my gosh, who did it? And we had that dialogue going the whole time, and it was a lot of fun to see who actually was responsible for all the mayhem in the movie. And I've seen it, 3 times now? And even on my second and third watch, I still had a good time. Endgame. Oh, I don't even know where to begin. Just how, Avengers started in 2012 with the first big team-up movie. Like, if you thought Avengers was amazing, oh boy. I love how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just this beautiful, like, interwoven story with a bunch of different movies and shows that are all connected, but they're still their own separate thing. And having them, it started with Infinity War, which we'll talk about for 2018. But what started, there's just so many huge payoffs, and seeing like 150 different comic book characters all together, all in the same movie, like all duking it out to save the universe. There's nothing like it, and movies will never be the same. Especially, more specifically, superhero movies will never be the same. And I'm actually very much looking forward to Black Widow kicking off Phase 4 later this year. But 1917 was also another favorite, mainly because wow, the cinematography is the best I've seen, the sound design is the best I've heard, and everything else is good too. The story's good. I don't think it's based off of a true story, but perhaps there are certainly true elements in this story. This kid who's in this one division, and he needs to go a couple of cities over in occupied territory to deliver a message to stop an attack from happening. And it's all filmed in real time, all in one shot. Well, there's basically 2 different shots. There's like a morning daytime shot and then cut to the nighttime. But it's so good. Just pick any generic action movie. You hear all the gunshots, like you think to yourself, okay, yeah, that's guns. Those are guns, those are pretty loud. But the sound design and how the guns sound and how they feel in 1917 is unlike any movie you've ever seen, and it's terrifying. Alright, moving on to 2018. So let's go. A Quiet Place. Alpha. Came out of nowhere. You've never heard of it, but we all love dogs, right? So if you love dogs, go watch Alpha. Annie and the Apocalypse. A zombie musical. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Aquaman. Surprised the heck out of me. Bird Box. Black Klansman. Black Klansman. I don't know how to pronounce it. 8th Grade. Super endearing, super awkward, and literally that girl is me. The Green Book, Hurricane Heist, The Incredibles 2, we've been waiting 14 years for the sequel, and Pixar delivered a really good movie. Infinity War, Into the Spider-Verse, Sony Animation Studios literally invented new animation techniques to make this movie possible. It's amazing. Maze Runner 3, Mission Impossible Fallout, Mortal Engines, Won't You Be My Neighbor, fantastic documentary on Mr. Rogers. That was one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid in the 90s. And it's just a really, really good look at the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Rogers. Wreck-It Ralph 2. And of course, to summarize my top 3 favorite movies of 2018, well, first of all, we'll give an honorable mention to Bird Box, just of how out of nowhere it came. And I still like it. I've seen it twice. But Into the Spider-Verse, as I mentioned earlier, completely new technologies created just to make the animation possible, to make it look like a moving, living, breathing comic book. It's mind-blowing. Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero ever since the Sam Raimi live-action Spider-Man movies that my dad forced me to watch instead of whatever animated movie I wanted to watch. Obviously, Infinity War has to be on that list. There's so much to consider with that movie. It's just too big. That's gonna have to be its own separate video. But then of course, A Quiet Place is another absolute favorite, top of 2018. I loved it so much. I actually made a fan film, which right now is only on my main channel, Yoshi on the Go, but I'll get that over here too, as well as some bonus behind the scenes, how did I make this movie type of videos. Written and directed and starring John Krasinski, Jim Halpert himself. I really like because it focuses on family, and I can't wait for the sequel. The sequel should have already been released, but coronavirus messed up a lot of public stuff. All right, 2017, let's go! Atomic Blonde, Baby Driver, good heist movie. Beauty and the Beast, classic Disney. The Big Sick, based off of a true story. Coco, another really family-focused movie, and it's Pixar, possibly my favorite Pixar movie. I'm not sure. I'll have to make that a separate video. I'll rank all the Pixar movies. Dead Trigger. I'm literally a zombie in that movie, and Dolph Lundgren shoots me in the face. It's pretty great. Parts of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Get Out, super original concept, totally crazy. iBoy, original Netflix movie. It, I don't like scary movies, but I like this one. I think just the cast are all really, all the kids that they cast and all their middle school troubles are relatable, I guess. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Justice League I liked a lot just because we got Batman. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Did not expect to like this one, but my friend and I, Steve, went and watched that, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really good. Kong, Skull Island, it's a kaiju movie, what do you expect?
Somehow I forgot about Lady Bird. Whoopsie.
The Last Jedi. Very divisive, but writer-director Rian Johnson. This is the first time I've ever loved a Star Wars movie so much that I walked out of the theater and I'm like, wow, I need to own that movie. The Lego Batman movie, because Batman's in it. Logan. Oh my goodness, Logan is probably one of the best X-Men movies. Spider-Man Homecoming, The Foreigner, starring Jackie Chan. Seeing Jackie Chan versus James Bond is always fun. Oh my gosh, Thor Ragnarok. I'll get to that later. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. It's actually based off of a comic book, which is what the Star Wars movies are based off of. And then War of the Planet of the Apes. This whole trilogy, I think, is another rare, perfect trilogy, and I'll talk about those movies more. But now for my top 3, and in the number 1 slot unequivocally is Thor Ragnarok. Not just because Taika Waititi directed it and wrote it, but it's just so, you experience all the emotions. There's triumph, there's sadness, there's a lot of plot threads from the other Thor movies and the other Avengers movies are resolved here. And Loki, there's a lot of character development with Loki. The soundtrack is zany. The worlds that they're exploring is totally crazy. It's hilarious. It's my favorite superhero movie of all time. Period. Hands down, Thor Ragnarok. Movie of the year. Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is also a top movie of 2017, mainly because we don't get good video game movies very often, and this one is very surprising how good it is. And then Coco, I just love the family dynamic, and I love how it really touches up on your history and your past, and where you come from is just as important as where you're gonna go, and who we are largely stems from where we came from. I quite like that. As usual, it's Pixar. What do you expect? It's gonna be good looking no matter what. And then honorable mention Dead Trigger because I'm in it. So I'm not on the front cover, but I actually am. Right here on the DVD, you can see the tall one right back there. I'm like a head taller than everyone else. Yep, that's me. Oh wow. So yeah, I'll tell you all about this in a separate movie. Like, comment, subscribe, help the channel out, share it to all your friends, and I'll make a video solely dedicated to Dead Trigger. Is it 2016 already? Good gravy. All right, 10 Cloverfield Lane, 13 Hours, also with John Krasinski, based off of a true story. Batman vs. Superman, because it's Batman, duh. Captain America Civil War, beginning of the end. The reason why Infinity War ended the way it did is because of what happens in Civil War. Doctor Strange, another really good one. It's like Harry Potter and Inception had a baby. It's totally crazy, especially in 3D. Finding Dory, the 2016 all-female Ghostbusters version. I had a ton of fun, and I like this version better than the other versions. Hunt the Wilder People, Taika Waititi. Jason Bourne. This is another movie that I'm in. Jungle Book, Kubo and the Two Strings, Laika Animation Studios, La La Land. Oh, La La Land's easily one of my favorite movies of all time. Star Wars Rogue One, Secret Life of Pets, Sing Street. I think, is that a Netflix original movie? About a bunch of Irish lads, Irish friends, making a little rock band in the 1980s. Star Trek Beyond. Swiss Army Man is just so weird and so bizarre, and for whatever reason it works. Train to Busan, a really good movie and a really good zombie movie. And Zootopia. I really like Zootopia. Alright, favorite movies of 2016. Obviously, let's see. First of all, shout out to Train to Busan. Just because it came out of nowhere. It's a foreign film. Its sequel, Peninsula, is upcoming and it looks pretty darn good. La La Land. I'll just say it is my favorite movie for sure of 2016. And probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just bright and it's colorful and it's poppin', and that soundtrack and the songs. It's just a really nice experience, honestly. Jungle Book was another favorite. Just the fact that this kid is literally the only real thing in the whole movie is mind-blowing. It's crazy. And then Hunt the Wilder People, because Taika. All right, 2015, let's go. Age of Ultron, it's the Avengers. Ant-Man, because it's Ant-Man, smaller story, really good. The Good Dinosaur, obviously Pixar, really good. Heart of the Sea, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Holland, and some other people. I was always a fan of Moby Dick, reading the book Moby Dick, or at least the kid version of the book, and it's a really good interpretation of that. Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2. Jurassic World, my favorite movie of all the Jurassic movies. The Maze Runner Scorched Trials, the second Maze Runner, also really good, and I love that it's secretly a zombie movie. Project Almanac, Room. Oh, that's a hard movie to watch, but it's also really good. San Andreas, I love disaster movies, I love weather movies, and this is the craziest, and also 3D is even better. So if you have a 3D TV like my cousin does, this is the best 3D movie I have ever seen. Spectre, James Bond, probably one of the best James Bond movies ever. I'm really upset that No Time to Die was delayed, because my dad and I were going to go watch that a couple months ago in March. When the trailer came out, he jokingly said, like, well, I guess it's no time for me to die. I'll have to live long enough to see the movie. And he did, except for coronavirus freaking screwed the whole world over. And so No Time to Die was delayed until November, which is very sad. But yeah, Spectre's really good. And then, of course, Steve Jobs. I'm a huge Apple fan, so any movie about Apple is great. Now, for my top movies of 2015. Honorable mention, Jurassic World. It's great. I like it a lot. Top 3 movies, though, would have to be Spectre, San Andreas, and The Good Dinosaur. Spectre is just a really good James Bond movie. Man, this reboot has done the franchise. It's just breathed so much new life into this franchise. It's just really, really good. San Andreas, like I said, it's the best disaster movie ever, period, hands down. It's a good time, for sure. And then The Good Dinosaur, it's Pixar. I really like, I find the character Arlo really relatable. And though I'm probably a little more prepared for outdoorsy things, because like Boy Scouts and all that stuff. There's actually a lot of interesting parallels between Good Dinosaur and Alpha, now that you think about it. My voice is starting to go. Should we keep going? Yes. Alright, for 2014 we got The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Big Hero 6, Boyhood, Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, Chef, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Days of Future Past, X-Men, Days of Future Past, The Edge of Tomorrow, Expendables 3, Godzilla, Guardians of the Galaxy, Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, The Lego Movie, Maze Runner, Nightcrawler, and The Imitation Game. All very good movies, however my top 3 are definitely Big Hero 6, Captain America Winter Soldier, and Days of Future Past, all superhero movies, surprisingly. I love X-Men Days of Future Past because of what it does to the franchise. It serves as a sequel to both the original trilogy and the like the reboot old school trilogy. So it's a sequel to 2 different timelines, plus it merges the timelines, plus it reboots the entire franchise all in one movie. There is no movie that does this. It's so crazy how oh my gosh. Does that make sense? It's really, really good. Captain America Winter Soldier is probably one of the best spy thrillers I've ever seen, and it happens to be a good superhero movie. But I love, this is when Anthony and Joe Russo kind of take over and infiltrate Marvel. Of course, they helped make some of my favorite shows of all time, Arrested Development and Community. And them being in the MCU is fantastic. They also wrote and directed Infinity War and Civil War and Endgame. And all of those are my favorite movies of the Marvel movies. Big Hero 6 is another one of those. I love that it's just its own story. It's original, it's unique, and it's fun. And it's not Pixar. There are good animation studios other than Pixar. Alright, 2013 is a really short one. Hunger Games Catching Fire, Iron Man 3, Jobs, just Jobs, another Steve Jobs related movie. Now You See Me, Pacific Rim, Red 2, Star Trek Into Darkness, Warm Bodies, and World War Z. Honorable mention has to be Warm Bodies or World War Z, because zombies. But my top 3 would be Now You See Me, which deals with magic, but it's not real magic. But is it real magic? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. No, it's not. Is it though? I don't know. Oh man, it's so good. It's just, it's original, it's different, and it's not like a franchise. Well, now it is. There's a sequel, but it's really, really good. Jobs takes a more direct approach to the life of Steve Jobs and all the things that he did and what led to his fascination with technology and the creation of Apple. Thank heavens for Apple. It's because of Steve Jobs that we have Pixar Animation Studios, by the way, that we have iPhones and multi-touch and all those gestures and things like that, that we have good music stores and online digital music distribution, not possible before Apple came in and stepped it up, and a whole bunch of other things. Apple is really an incredible company. Iron Man 3, definitely my favorite Iron Man movie out of all of them, and all the other movies that Iron Man is in, this one is my favorite. I love how, well, the movie that immediately precedes this is The Avengers, and he gets asked the question from Captain America, take away the suit of armor and what are you and who are you? And, well, we find out the answer to that question in Iron Man 3. Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. I love seeing Tony with all of his powers and all of his toys taken away. And so what are you going to do about that? You have this problem. How are you going to solve that? And, well, this is what he does. This is how he solves these problems. Because he is Iron Man. Take away the suit of armor, he's still Iron Man, without question. Alright, we're speeding things up again. 2012, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Avengers, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Big Miracle, The Bourne Legacy, Chronicle, The Dark Knight Rises, The Expendables 2, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, which is the second one, Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Looper, Moonrise Kingdom, The Odd Life of Timothy Green, Paranorman, Premium Rush, Prometheus, Red Dawn, The Secret World of Arrietty, Skyfall, perhaps my favorite James Bond movie, Step Up Revolution, The First Hunger Games, The Impossible, based off a true story, starring Tom Holland, Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2, Don't At Me, and Wreck-It Ralph. But I have to narrow it down to a top 3, starting off Skyfall, arguably the best James Bond movie ever made. Very, very similar to Iron Man 3. You take away the toys, you take away all of these aspects that make James Bond, and what do you get? How does James Bond react to this situation? How is he going to overcome his adversaries? Skyfall is the answer to that. Premium Rush is another definitely top of the top 3 of 2012, and it's a movie you've probably never heard of or seen. Just deals with starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It deals with him. He's a bike messenger, and he gets this mysterious package that he needs to deliver, and then all of a sudden, all these people are after him, and it's really it's really fun. It's just fun to watch. And then, of course, probably the best of the best, the very tippity top of 2012 would be The Avengers. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the first time that a movie like this has existed, where we have all these characters from different franchises. I guess the monster movies from like the 50s and the 60s, they kind of did that too. You know, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, and Dracula and all that stuff. It kind of crossed over a little bit. But really, this is the first time that it happened this way, and just based off of that, it's very exciting. For 2011, we've got The Adjustment Bureau, Captain America, the first one, Contagion, 2020 called They Want Their Movie Back, Darkest Hour, Dolphin Tale, The Fast Five, which is really the only good one that's worth watching, Hannah, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Hugo, I Am Number 4, Limitless, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, probably my favorite one out of all of them, Real Steel, Rio, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, one of the best trilogies ever, Sherlock Holmes 2, A Game of Shadows, Source Code, which is pretty trippy, Super 8, The Green Hornet, The Muppets, and Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1. All right, top 3 of 2011. Number 1, Super 8. Very, very personal, like, very, not personal, but very, very relatable story about a group of boys making a monster movie in the 1980s, and then they see a train crash and a monster escapes from the train and causes mayhem in the town. Literally my life, minus the monster. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, one of the greatest trilogies ever. This reboot trilogy is super good, and I hope that it's not a trilogy. I hope that they make more, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. And then of course Deathly Hallows Part 2, Harry Potter. I grew up with Harry Potter my whole life. The books came out when I was super, super young, and then I've always had the books and the movies and, you know, the next book to look forward to reading and the next movie to look forward to watching. And this came just right as I was going into college. And it just left such a hole because now Harry Potter's over and it's done. But I do have all the movies, and I think I'm gonna go watch Harry Potter now and start a marathon. But yeah, I just love how beautiful. I am so relieved that they split these movies, or that they split this book into 2 movies. I actually thought, ever since I read the 4th book, I thought, oh, holy cow, these books are so big, they're gonna have to do 2-parters for all of them. And I was kind of right. I was hoping they'd do 2-parters for, you know, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's a lot of movies, right? But yeah, I love how they separated it, because the Deathly Hallows definitely needed the campy, literal camping beginning stuff, and the end battle. Those needed to be 2 separate movies, and I'm glad they did it that way. Oh, we made it to 2010. Are you ready? All right, here we go. 127 Hours, Avatar, Book of Eli, Charlie St. Cloud, Deathly Hallows Part 1, Easy A, How to Train Your Dragon, Inception, oh my gosh, Iron Man 2, Night and Day, The Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole. We never got a sequel to that. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, very good. Prince of Persia, another really good video game movie. Red, R-E-D, Red. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The Social Network, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, The A-Team, The Karate Kid, The Last Airbender, which I will explain, bear with me. Toy Story 3, which is the 3rd movie I ever saw in 3D, it's really good. Tron Legacy, True Grit, and Twilight Eclipse. So really quickly, I'll give a shout out to Avatar, The Last Airbender. That is not a good movie. However, when I saw it for the first time, I loved it so much that it actually got me into the anime. And then after I saw the whole series, I went back to watch the movie again, and I realized just how crappy it is. That's why it's one of my favorite movies of 2010, because at the time, I liked it. And I liked it so much that it actually introduced me to the actual good stuff, the Avatar anime. Favorite movies of 2010, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's another really good video gaming movie, although it's based off of the comic book. I've seen that movie dozens of times, no exaggeration, at least 15 to 20 times, I've lost count. One of my favorite movies of all time. Also one of my favorite movies of all time, Inception. I saw that movie 7 times, not exaggerating, 7 times in theaters, and I'm still, just my mind's blowing every single time I watch it. I watch it at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. It's that good. it's so, and I think it's that good just because the concepts are so foreign that it just takes a long time to think about what is happening and what this movie is trying to say. And I'm actually really looking forward to Chris Nolan's next movie, Tenet, which looks to do a lot of other really mind-bending stuff. And then, of course, Deathly Hallows Part 1. I mean, it's Harry Potter. What you gonna do? It's Harry Potter. Of course, it's one of my favorites. But that wraps it up. Holy cow, this is a long movie. Oh my gosh, I have been recording for 45 minutes. Oh my gosh. Anyways, if I were to declare one winner for the entire decade, the very best movie of the 2010s, I don't know, there's so many good ones. Infinity War, La La Land, Scott Pilgrim, 1917, but I think if I had to choose one and only one, my favorite movie of the decade would be Inception. It's that good. My name is Parker Mayberry. I love movies. Thank you for joining me on this movie adventure. Anything movie related, it will be right here. I can't wait. Thanks for joining.